All right, so we have a pretty good team right now. Looks like everyone's here. Let's go ahead and get started with this session. I'll introduce myself again. My name is Samuel Hernandez. I am the contact center operations supervisor. Today, we're going to talk about the wide area process, how to submit a ticket, where to find resources, what to expect, what is the timeline, and how to successfully complete a large excavation that can that last longer than 15 working days. If you have any questions, please, I will ask you to just participate, let me know, and we can answer those. Also, we have an email membership at nm811.org. That will be the best resource for you to send your questions to. And we have our director, Donna, and our CEO, Laura Harrison, myself. We're always monitoring that particular inbox. So if you have questions, send us an email. You can also call us at 505-254-7310. Select option 3 for membership, and we will be happy to answer your questions. All right, so what is a wide area process? So according to New Mexico excavation law, when the excavator can reasonably complete an excavation within 15 working days, they should submit a standard locate, right? But sometimes, those excavations can be completed because, factors outside the excavator's control, such as, delays on certain products, chain supply issues, or workforce, weather, unexpected circumstances in the field. I mean, these things happen, but in general, the excavator believes that the excavation could be completed in 15 working days. If it's not completed, they will submit a relocate for the area yet to be excavated, and they usually complete that on the second ticket, right? But that's just because situations outside their control gonna impede their ability to complete that excavation in the time frame that they believed. Now, there's other excavations that will not be completed in 15 working days and require a different type of ticket. And the reason behind this is to manage the burden that is placed on the utility operators when marking or locating large excavation areas. So if you have a 2 mile, 3 mile stretch that is going to take a couple of months to complete, the state does not want the operators to go out there and remark the entire 2 or 3 miles or 5 miles or 10 miles every 15 working days because the company that is developing this excavation is unable to complete it on time. So the plan that they came up with is, okay, well, let's have them meet together. They have them set up a plan, have a conversation, and agreed on a locating schedule that benefit both the excavator and the operator. Well, how do you do that? Let's go ahead and start with a conference. So, in the state of New Mexico, being a midnight rule state, operators have 48 hours to respond to a ticket, right? That means that when you set up a conference, the operators have 2 days to respond if they're unable to attend. So, you'll call the 811 system and tell us, hey, I'm going to have an excavation that is not going to be completed in 15 working days. We will ask you basically the same information that we ask for a standard locate. Size and scope of work, the company that you're working for, the company that you're working with, the name of the person calling us, etc. I'll go over that in the next slide. I only have like 6 different slides on this presentation, right? But we'll set up a conference that is at least 2 business days out. Then the second step is you obviously have your conference and you present the work plan. We have some templates available on our website, nm811.org, under resources. Those templates have been shared by other excavators. They found those plans to be very successful for their excavation. You can download them and customize them. But in general, what the law requires for those particular excavation plans is to have the same items as a standard locate. But the only difference is that you will have a signing sheet for the conference and a locating schedule. And that is probably the trickiest part. How do you develop a locating schedule? Well, most excavators simply communicate with the operators. How often can you come out here? I'm going to be moving 1 mile a week. Can you mark on every Monday? Can you come out here every 2 weeks? Can you come out here on the 10th of every month? Why don't you mark everything by this particular date, and I'll call you back if I need additional markings. This is what the conferences are valuable because you get the opportunity to directly discuss their workload and make a commitment of how often or how regularly can they mark the lines for you. That's the value of the conference. Now, after the conference, you got your signatures, you got to talk to everyone, you got your schedule in place. Well, you call the 811 back and say, hey, I have a work plan in place. I'm ready to start my excavation. Well, we will give you a brand new ticket number that is linked to that conference. And the information that the utility receives is, hey, this is a conference number. Start spotting per work plan. Perfect. Our agents will tell the excavator or the caller, hey, I need you to call us back by this particular date. The reason is, since your excavation is ongoing, we need to notify those utility operators that they need to continue spotting per work plan every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, whatever you agreed on that particular work plan. That is called a reaffirm. You're reaffirming the excavation or the continuation of that excavation. And the operators should adhere to that plan because you got their signature and you had that discussion. Now, there's a few scenarios where the operator does not show up to the conference. Well, what happens? Well, after the conference, you should call the 811 system and we will issue a warning to that particular operator. The warning will give them 2 hours to get in contact with you so they can receive a copy of that work plan. And that way they get an agreement that they will be located per work plan. Now, what happens if 2 months, 3 months into the excavation, they stop following the work plan? Well, you call the 811 system and we will issue a warning because they stopped following the work plan. Now, these warnings are also forwarded to the Pipeline Safety Bureau. And the Pipeline Safety Bureau, or PSV, will collect these warnings and they'll send fines every quarter. Each fine is $111 and they're issued to those utility operators that fail to either show up to the conference or they fail to follow the work plan. Now, there will be occasions where we cannot communicate with the operator, or perhaps they are refusing to mark. Well, situations like that, though they're just too few and far in between, we get the Pipeline Safety Bureau involved, and they usually are able to enforce or either clear the operator so they can continue the excavation. Ultimately, the Wide Area Conference or Wide Area Locate is a plan for all of those excavators that have large excavations. This is not the project in its entirety. This is exclusively for excavation. So those that cannot be completed in 15 working days, they have a better opportunity to reduce the workload that is placed on the utility operators. And at the same time, they have a more efficient channel of communication that is directly between the excavator and the operator. Now, if you do not want to use the work plan templates that are in our website, you'll figure, well, what do I put in my work plan? Well, what the law requires is that you use the same 10 things that we use on a standard locate. Name and contact information of the excavator, which would be the boots on the ground, a person directly involved with the excavation. Any alternate contact, description and purpose of the type of work to be done. If you want to be doing some boring, you're going to be doing trenching, hydrovacking, etc., or all of them. The name of whom the work is being done for, what company hired you to do this excavation, whether or not the areas that are going to be excavated are going to be marked in white. Um, Marked in white is required in the state of New Mexico, even if it's a conference or if it's a standard. The white lining per American Public Works Association is the best way to define the route or size of the excavation. So even if you have a plan, you should be white lining. You need to provide a physical description on the location and size of the excavation, basically exactly where you're going to be digging. When there's excavation on a rural area, provide those driving directions on the original work plan. The spotting instructions, and this is going to be the bread and butter. This is where everything is happening. Spotting instructions is you're telling the operators, this is what I need you to mark. This is what I need you to do for me. This is what I want you to clear the conflicts for me. And then if there are any access to the site, any hazards, like any protective, any PPE that they have to be using or wearing, etc. And lastly, incorporating GPS coordinates if the area is in rural. So these are the 10 things that are going to be in the work plan, in addition to sign up sheet and the locating schedule. That's the only two differences between the standard and this particular wide area process. Now, something that is, oh, this is a duplicate. There you go. Something that is important to consider is understanding the positive response that the utility operators have for the excavators. They will have two options, conference attended, and that means obviously that they went to the conference, but it also implies that they agreed to the work plan, with the exception of adding notes. The conference was attended, but we do not agree to our work plan because it was either excessive or there was not sufficient compromise to agree to that work plan. I've only seen it happen twice, and the Pipeline Safety Bureau got involved, and they were able to mediate and find an agreement on this particular work plan. And it all boiled down to the fact that the excavator wanted the operator to mark, I believe it was like 7 miles at once by the end of the week, and then it will to come back every week to refresh the lines. And that seemed excessive. That defeated the entire purpose of having a conference. So let's see, I have a question over here. Go ahead, Sonia.
Yeah, on the 811 website, we're able to map out our locates as well as given the directions and such. Are we able to do that as well for wide area locates?
Well, right now, we are not processing conferences through our portal. So
Okay,
all conference tickets need to be called in. However, you can go back to the portal, enter the ticket number that was provided to you, click search, and on the right-hand side, you'll see the ticket, but right above the ticket, there are multiple options. You can click on map, and it will give you a map of what was selected for you.
excellent. Yeah, I utilize that quite a bit and it helps whenever there's a discrepancy. So that's what I was curious of, if we could still apply that to this. All
I'm
right.
glad. Yeah, I'm glad that you're using it because that's the best way to visualize that the proposed excavation area matches the information on your ticket, and you can give us a call back and we can modify it. We have had certain situations where the excavator ends up digging on a completely different area, and when the damage occurs, because there will be a damage if they're digging in an area that is outside the size and scope of work provided, they their justification is like, well, I put that information in my work plan. It's like, yeah, but you need to provide it during the call. You know, when we're collecting information for the conference, we need to get the entire size and scope of work so we can map the entire area.
Exactly. What I'm seeing is verbiage. People are using quotations for like approximately 1,500 feet. And I told him like, no, you're off 400 feet. So your tickets are not valid. So that's what I wanted to confirm, is that we cannot use verbiage as such to when we're indicating how far we need locates or where they need to be located. And I'm trying to drive people away from that so we can get accurate information. So
Correct.
that's all.
Correct. And that's a good exercise. Really reduce the ambiguity on this particular information, and the accuracy is going to give you a better quality locate, and it's going to significantly reduce that risk of damages. So uh, on these particular conferences, what's important to understand is the time frame that it takes to develop this. Well, a standard locate, you call us in, and then 2 business days after, you have a dig ticket. That is not the case with the conference. Given that it's going to be a long-term excavation, up to 6 months, that you can have continuous excavation on a wide area conference. Well, you have to make sure there's plenty of time upfront for the locators to first understand your work plan and second to start marking per work plan. So from the moment that you give us, from the first contact to set up the conference, it will be 2 business days to have the conference. Then after the conference, it's another 2 business days to have a dig locate. So in general, it takes about 5 business days, and that will be an entire week to have from the first contact to the actual dig. So you should build that time frame within your excavation to ensure that you will be able to start on time. And that is if there are no delays on getting positive response. What we strongly recommend many, yes, just 1 second, Cody. I'll go ahead and give you the word. What is important to consider and what we recommend at times is you have an excavation that is going to last, a month, 2 months, and you're going to set up a conference, but you need to start by in the next 2 business days. Well, you can set up your conference, but you also can submit a standard locate for the portion of route that you need to excavate right away. So if I'm going to excavate altogether like 10 miles, but I'm going to start on Wednesday, well, I'm going to submit a ticket, a standard locate for the first mile of my project. And now I have 2 tickets, one that is going to allow me to start on Wednesday, and the other one that is going to help me get in contact with all the operators so I can develop the large excavation. Go ahead, Cody.
Yes, Sam, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you. On the wide area conference, I've kind of questioned this before and kind of got it was more of a gray area. So after your meeting takes place, say you have it's a relatively smaller project with not that many utility companies involved with it. You place your go ahead and call back in, say the conference taking place already, and go ahead and place your normal ticket. Are you allowed, if permission is given by all utilities, do I have to wait for that actual ticket to mature to actually begin excavation? Or I've heard that you take responsibility if incidents or something takes place before that ticket's matured. But I didn't know if there's any kind of fines or anything associated with that. If that kind of makes sense, what I'm asking, I guess.
It absolutely makes sense, and it's a discussion that we recently had with the chief of Pipeline Safety Bureau Chief Jason Montoya, because there's contradictory information in the excavation law. First of all, is you should wait until the positive responses have been provided and the timestamp on the ticket. That's what the rule says. So
Okay.
um, that translates into, yeah, you need to wait until the ticket matures so you can start digging. However, with the wide area conference, what the rule says is that the wide area work plan will be the governing document. And in that sense, if the wide area document says, well, everyone's going to clear by tomorrow, then you should ideally start digging after that agreement is reached. However, unless the information gets changed in the rule, it is very likely that everyone in the enforcing side will tell you that you have to wait until the ticket matures, until they reframe that sentence.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah, it's still a bit of a gray area, but I'm glad that you brought that up. You're paying companies like you are paying attention to this, and it just needs additional clarification. My opinion is that if there's a work plan and it says that you can start right away because everyone marked what you needed, then that's the governing document. But it's just not defined on the rule, and I think
Right.
it can circle back and be kind of productive to the excavator.
Perfect. Thanks, Sam. I just figured that was a good time to ask that, so I
It
appreciate
is
it.
it's a great topic. I hope that we can talk about that in the next New Mexico Regional Common Ground Alliance out at the Slater Casino in October. Stakeholders, regulators, 811, we all get together and we'll have discussions like this so we can help bring clarification to that because, if you can start 2 days earlier, that's money. So I see the value on this. All right,
Thank
so understanding the conference attended and conference rescheduled, this is a positive response. As excavators, you are required to review the positive responses before you initiate your excavation. It is really imperative that you understand as an excavator that utility operators have the ability to reschedule that meeting up to 5 business days after the notification. That means that if I call today, The 5 business days starts today, not the day of the conference, right? So in that case, they could push the conference out until Friday. The law gives them that opportunity. I believe that with emails and phones, you can expedite that process, but they do have that ability to reschedule with 5 days out. Again, that is from the day of the contact, not the day of the conference. All right. So if at some point one of your conference reschedule, well, they have to provide time, day, and location. If you give us a call and they're like, yeah, they rescheduled, but they didn't give you any information, more likely we'll issue a warning, or we'll also can participate in the conversation, get in contact with them, and see if we can facilitate that communication for you, right? Now, if you are an operator, you should understand that you only have 5 business days from the day of the call, not from the meeting. That will be 7 business days, right? Okay, so warnings, again, we're going to issue these ones for conferences where the operator did not show up. We will take the caller's word for it. If we receive a call and the ticket says positive response, area clear, that is not a valid response to a conferences. It should be conference attended, and we will issue a warning so they can get in contact with you and they can get a copy of the work plan. And now they can tell you, you know what, it's clear. I'll agree with whatever because I don't have any assets in the area. Those, like I said, are sent also to the Public Regulation Commission, and the PRC, will send any type of fines. Now, sometimes if a fine is the first one that this operator receives, then they will allow them to take a New Mexico excavation law course online. That also has a cost, so they can rescind that warning. So they believe that with training and education outreach, they will be able to help operators understand their responsibilities better and excavators to start their excavations on time. All right, so this is a very simple diagram of the process. First arrow, call for a conference. Second, present a work plan. Then call back for a locate, excavate per work plan, and then call us every 13 days to reaffirm the excavation. Now, the reaffirm part is absolutely fundamental because you are notifying the 811, the Public Regulation Commission, and the excavator that your excavation is ongoing. Now, every 13 days, we'll give you a new ticket number that is linked to the original conferences. And that is to have a good audit trail. You're able to say, like, hey, I started this day and now I'm this far. Now I'm this far into my excavation. Now, what happens when you finish the excavation? Well, you stop simply reaffirming the ticket. And we, 811, the PRC, and the operator stop receiving notifications that the excavation is ongoing. So there is no need to call and say, hey, I'm done with this. Please, you can cancel the ticket, etc. No, the ticket will expire after 15 working days, and that way they will stop receiving those. Now, what happens if you forget to call us and your ticket expired? Well, call us right away. Sometimes, based on specific circumstances, we'll be able to help you bring that ticket back, and so you don't have to have a new conference. But if it's been over 48 hours, we will not be able, after the expiration date, we will not be able to assist you. You will have to set up a new conference and reinitiate the process. So it is of utmost importance that you put reminders to call back by specific date, the date that our agents give you, so you can assure you have an ongoing ticket for the full extent of your excavation. All right. Remember, these are the steps. There's about 2 business days between each one of these boxes. Call 811 for a conference, present the work plan, call for the locate, excavate per work plan, and call us for reaffirm. This is basically, in a nutshell, this is what you need to know about the wide area conference. Now, if you want to know the specific verbiage that is used in the rule, you can visit our nm811.org website, click on Excavation Handbook, and look at page, I believe, is 55 or 57, and that's going to be the wide area locate. It's going to talk about the size of an excavation. Starts with the standard locate and then progresses into the wide area conferences. Now, there's a couple elements that I would like to touch based on regarding conferences. And that is many of these excavations have subcontractors. And how do you incorporate those subcontractors into a large excavation? Well, it all boils down to financial responsibility in case of a damage. And that means that if the main contractor is willing to assume that financial responsibility for those subcontractors, then they can list those companies as the ones developing specific parts of the project. However, I do not believe many companies will be willing to do that. Therefore, each company that is directly involved in the excavation should submit their own ticket. Now, the key element of this to save time and resources is have your subcontractors show up at the same conferences that you're going to be holding, and they all can schedule at the same time. So they all can talk to the same people and say, hey, this is the same work plan. All of us are working together. This is my portion. And everyone will have signatures because they all working on the same project. You just have to be clever about this, present the information at the same time, coming from various contractors, so you can have a clear path to a successful excavation.